You've got Vanessa Borne and Aaliyah versus Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro.
The King of Bros himself, Matt Riddle versus the returning Kona Reeves.
And you've got the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, Ricochet and Aleister Black versus...
Cat, your tongue there. Come on, you're supposed to remember the names. We worked on this.
I'm sorry.
You're supposed to remember these things.
I'm sorry, dude. I forgot.
Support No DQ.
Welcome, everybody, to What's NXT for March 27th, 2019. I am your host, the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight we've got 3 matches. A pretty substantial promo here at the beginning. Adam Cole comes out to the ring, and we've already got the NXT title setting up on the podium, you know,
still
with the red velvet.
Still emblazoned with Ciampa's names on it.
Still got Ciampa's nameplates on it, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He hasn't technically lost the belt yet. We haven't crowned a new champion, so I prefer to think of Ciampa still as the champion and not vacant, but maybe it's vacant. He owns all the titles eventually.
He's actually there. He's just wearing a belt and he's invisible.
So he basically doesn't say much before he calls out Johnny Gargano. He wants to tell Gargano face to face a million reasons why he's going to defeat him at TakeOver.
He gets like 7 in.
And then Johnny Gargano comes out to his babyface entrance.
Mm-hmm.
We are full on Johnny Gargano babyface again, and I'm fine with this. With no Tommaso Ciampa around, there's no reason to have him as this weird flux of a heel face back and forth.
If there's any confusion, Adam Cole, when like Cole and Gargano both get equal chants going on in the arena, Cole automatically tells him, "I don't need you guys cheering and whatnot." And Johnny Gargano says, "I don't mind you guys cheering. Heel, face, good to go."
Like 5 minutes of the crowd trading Johnny Wrestling and Adam Cole chants. Like, this is actually kind of hilarious.
Wrestling Adam Cole.
Johnny says that he'll show Cole why they call him Johnny Takeover, because once Johnny actually came out, Adam Cole didn't have anything to say.
No.
And Gargano mentioned, "Take it in, get out your phones, folks." Like, for once, Adam Cole is speechless.
Yep.
And then Adam Cole says Johnny should actually be called Johnny Participation, because even though he, you know, puts on a show at TakeOver, he doesn't win a lot of takeovers.
He's like 1-1.
So Gargano says he fights for everyone who's ever been told no, because his first time in NXT he was told no. But
back in 2015.
Then they called him back, and then they called him back again, and eventually he fought his way to the top, and this is where he takes, you know, the end of the story that he keeps saying is the end of his story is the NXT Championship, and we'll see if he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Cole seems to think he's got the upper hand. He gets out of the ring and basically calls the rest of the Undisputed Era up to the stage. I think they're going to play a role in the match. Just saying. This is foreshadowing, sir.
The only thing that really bothers me about that, and something I've been dwelling on since that, is the fact that we've gone through these takeovers that I've actually sat with you and watched, and there has been no screw job finishes. There really hasn't been any interference. And
well,
that's
we've seen
really
some with
for.
Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir in Shayna Baszler matches.
I was about to say I've seen that happen, but I haven't seen it happen actually on a.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
You can do it tastefully. There's 2 out of 3 falls. You don't have to ruin all 3 falls.
Just one. Just
one.
Just enough to wreck Johnny Gargano.
And this is pretty much it. I mean, it's. I hate to say it for NXT, but it's pretty basic as far as promos go for the title match that's coming up.
What I really liked about it is Adam Cole started off so cocky and everything towards the beginning with the whole Johnny Participation thing, but then Johnny Gargano goes on this whole spiel about like where he came from, how he came up from the ground up and everything, and Cole just kind of stood there like listening. You see he was actually taking it all in, and it almost seemed like Cole was convinced like, damn, he deserves this as much as I do. So
I don't know.
Who knows?
Cole found his fire when he had 3 men backing him up at the top of the stage.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I think Cole's right. I mean, Johnny Gargano may put on a good show, but his win-loss record at TakeOver speaks for itself.
And the win-loss after TakeOver.
Yeah. So after this, we get a recap of the Forgotten Sons beat down on Ricochet and Aleister Black.
That happened last week that we didn't see.
Yeah, they said it happened last week, and it's like, no, that happened 2 weeks ago, I think. And even still, it happened while the show had already gone off the air.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting a little bit of a treat here, I guess. They just called the week wrong.
Yep.
And no re-edit here. They just, whatever.
Because if you're keeping track, last week we got just one match because we had to set up for this 2 out of 3 falls match we were just discussing.
We had a newly recorded episode shuffled in before they were done airing the previously recorded episodes.
So a little blurb. Chances are Triple H fired somebody.
Possibly. This is just setting us up for the main event, of course, as alluded to during our cold open. The Forgotten Sons. I forgot. Yeah, okay. So, the Forgotten Sons, Steve Cutler, Wesley Blake, along with Jackson Riker.
They have their names on their tights.
Ricochet and Aleister Black. But our first match of the night is a women's tag team division match. If there is a division. I guess there is now because the tag team titles extend to NXT. Mm-hmm. So we've got Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, who we've seen tagging together previously, versus a new team of Lacey Lane and Casey Catanzaro. Now, she is the chick from American Ninja Warrior, which she likes to show off in her entrance by scaling the ring post.
Yes. And that was really cool looking.
I believe she's got like some shoe climber shoes on, which leads me to believe, again, wrestling boots make no goddamn difference.
And Lacey Lane has got one of those really cool like appearances to her, and super agile, we find out in the match too, but she looks like a weird mix of like Katana from freaking Mortal Kombat, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and it has that Nikki Cross kind of feel at the same time.
Now, when you're noticing all of these Mortal Kombat characters, I'm noticing Vanessa Bourne. She looks fucking hot, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god, that uniform, I don't know,
Outfit.
her wrestling gear.
Yeah, her outfit. Yeah.
Man, she looks fucking hot as fuck. Anyway, I barely have any notes for this match. I've got one move by Lacey Lane with a triple springboard arm drag.
Yeah.
So she goes over
Very
the corner,
crisp.
jumps up, goes off the top, but then jumps down and catches 1 foot on each side to the middle rope, springs back up to the top rope, and then comes down with an arm drag. Really cool looking. And then Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Juke, and Marina Shafir come to the ring and
clear house.
Yeah, Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, they dodge out.
They've had enough from that last attack.
Yeah, they knew better, so they got out of dodge, and Casey Catanzaro and Lacey Lane catch the brunt of it. Now, Casey, to her credit, actually ends up starting to fend them off. She does a double drop kick to Duke and Shafir as they're coming through the ropes to lay them out on the outside. But then eventually, Baszler catches up.
Well, she tries this like almost like wheelbarrow type flip thing, and Shayna Baszler doing such a Samoa Joe move, just flips her up into with the clutch and just passes her out.
Yep. And Baszler, on the way out, stops by the announcer's booth and says to them, "This is going to keep happening as long as the champ gets disrespected."
I was about to say, like, it looked like she was just saying it directly to Percy Watson more than anything.
And then, as been her habit, she stood up on the announcer's table and showed off the title. Mm-hmm. Shayna Baszler, everybody. I love this lady. She's great.
She's wonderful. She's good TV.
So, match number 2 of the night, Matt Riddle versus Kona Reeves, the returning Kona Reeves. He hasn't been on television for like 5 or 6 months. I think we had just started doing this show, and you saw his last match before.
I was about to say, that was him versus Keith Lee, but this is something that Steph and I both noticed and had to Google afterwards. He is just tall.
He is extremely large, and you can tell in this match because Matt Riddle is not as large. Kona Reeves is 6'6", 250 pounds.
Yes.
Matt Riddle is more like my height, 6 foot.
Yeah, and like I didn't see him as that tall, but probably because of the fact that like Keith Lee is such a mountain of a dude. But at the same time, God, he's lanky, but he's also got some meat to him, and you can tell that he's super improved in the ring in this match.
I tell you what I noticed about Kona Reeves was his badass new entrance music. So much better than before. It might just be a remix of it, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I've got several spot notes here, but before I get into them, what did you think about this match, Jerry?
I was actually really impressed with the match. I was like, this last week, I can honestly say I was really impressed by Matt Riddle in general. So I wanted to see a follow up to that to set up more for his match against Velveteen Dream that got announced as well. So for us to actually see Matt Riddle in a match with a guy that's got about the same build to him, if not like Matt Riddle being a little bit shorter, and a whole different moveset and whatnot, because Kona Reeves, I'm going to say, he's repackaged and reborn. He did a fantastic job in this match.
And he's got a few new moves here and there, and let me get into them. So my first note from Kona is on the mat. He ends up dodging a soccer kick from Riddle, and then while he's laying down from the dodge, Riddle goes for a standing moonsault. Kona rolls and dodges out of that, but then while he's on his all fours, Matt Riddle hits him with that Broton.
Yep.
That was sweet.
It was.
I like this habit they're doing now of hitting a senton or a splash while someone's on all fours, so you've got that extra foot for them to drop.
Delirious in Ring of Honor, he would actually come off the top rope with a splash on somebody with them on all fours like that. It was brutal looking.
Now, somewhere in here towards the beginning of the mat, Velveteen Dream comes out.
Materializes out of nowhere onto the ramp.
With a lounger and a couple of ladies with them. Real cool, like, got a chalice. Maybe it's a pimp cup, who knows. But he's drinking, I think it's water. You can tell later. Now, Kona tries to take advantage. He ends up running Riddle neck first into the top rope. You know, like dodging through while Riddle's trying to go for maybe a German. And then comes off of that with this, how do I call it? Like a scoop backdrop.
Yep.
So like he's going for a back body drop, but he scoops him up with one leg, and it's like a high angle too.
It's a high angle backdrop driver almost.
So this is new out of Reeves, but he gets a near fall, no pinfall here. Now Riddle slips into an overhead kick to the back of Kona's head, and by slips I mean one of these things where I don't know if Kona was going for a lariat or a kick, but Riddle just kind of dodges out of the way through it, like how he does a dragon screw leg whip, but doesn't screw the leg, like it just comes around. It's just amazing how he gets around these people.
Yeah, he flows.
And then he swings through, this is how I put it, he swings through a lariat from Kona Reeves and ends up turning that into a ripcord high knee. If you can't imagine it, watch the fucking match.
Oh yeah,
this is the best I can describe it, folks. But it's cool as shit looking.
We'll rip on Matt Riddle's like promo abilities and just his character in general. But if you sit there and watch one of his matches, they are fucking good.
So the end of this match comes with Matt Riddle getting Reeves on the mat. He starts doing the elbows to the side of the head, and then follows that into the bro mission. And of course, after
it looked like Kona was already tapping.
It
looked like Kona was already tapping from the elbows, but all of a sudden he gets flipped around into a bro mission, and that was the end of it.
This was a good match. It builds up Matt Riddle for Velveteen Dream, builds up the feud because Matt Riddle goes up the ramp after his win, takes the chalice from Velveteen, drinks it down, a bunch of water goes down his
takes
chest.
a chug, just throws
it, and Velveteen Dream makes one of his bitches go fetch it. And then
go fetch, bitch.
And then a war of words, sort of.
He calls him Matthew Riddle because he actually gets announces Matt Riddle as the winner of the match.
But then Riddle says, "See you take over, bro."
That's all he needs to say. He doesn't need to say anything else.
Yeah, don't say anything else.
It's like don't damage this moment. This was a cool moment for you.
So before the main event, no more promos, no more nothing. We get just a quick announcement. Next week we're going to see Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair. That should be a good match.
Yeah, it should be. Probably won't be, but it should be. And hopefully we'll get the Djokovic or Dijak, whatever.
Donovan Dijak versus Keith Lee. That may or may not happen. I think Keith Lee might be injured.
I think it already was filmed, but at the same time, they just kept having to push it back because of this whole thing with Ciampa.
So, now we are on to the main event. Damn, 14 minutes into the show. However, this main event, I've got a fuck ton of notes.
I was about to say, this was a stellar main event.
So, we've got the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. The Forgotten Sons, Wesley Blake, Steve Cutler with Jackson Riker at ringside versus Ricochet and Aleister Black. And fucking wow.
25 minutes of just great tag action.
So let's hear your thoughts before I read through all of these goddamn notes.
25 minutes of great tag action.
This is a great match.
Well, basically, like, what we got to see in this match was what I was hoping for, and that's a lot more out of the Forgotten Sons. They've been around for quite a while now, but they haven't really wowed me in a match yet. They've little by little, they're showing us more and more of the repertoire. They're more of what I like to look for in a tag team. Matching tights, similar styles, but then they also have a bunch of innovative tag team maneuvers at the same time. They're actually, it's one of these things where it's like without one, the other one doesn't work. They're very yin and yang now. Versus Aleister Black and Ricochet, who are defined as single stars at this point. They're just kind of sandwiched together. And they're doing great together, don't get me wrong. But the more Cutler and Blake are together, the more dangerous they're going to become. Because they're coming up with these different ways of hurting people together and getting away with it, especially behind the referee's back.
Especially with Jackson Riker at ringside.
And if you have Jackson Riker at ringside as pretty much like an insurance policy, more or less, it's only going to help. It just didn't help this time around.
No, and he tried. There's been some matches where he hasn't gotten involved, but this is the finals.
I was about to say, when it comes to big matches, he always comes into play in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, this is for the opportunity at the Tag Championships at NXT TakeOver New York. So you do what you have to do. Mm-hmm. In this case, he did. Ricochet and Aleister Black start off this match by basically driving both Cutler and Blake to the outside to regroup with Aleister Black. They come back in. A couple of high spots later, they're back on the outside.
Yep.
We get these stereo rollovers. And by rollover, I mean not a float over. I think both Cutler and Blake went for back body drops.
Yep.
And Ricochet and Aleister Black rolled over their backs into those sitting poses where Ricochet's got like the superhero pose and Aleister Black goes Indian style. That was cool.
Well, even at the entrance, they actually had it where like Aleister Black did the Indian style thing, and Ricochet did that hand thing you love so much right behind him, and it looked really cool.
So the first high spot here goes outside. Ricochet goes for a suicide dive, but midway he switches to a baseball slide because they moved out of the way. So he slides out, ends up getting caught by
Blake, I think it was.
Yeah, and then so Blake's got him trapped, both of his arms behind him, but then Ricochet ducks out of the way. Aleister Black hits a wicked soccer kick off the apron, right to Blake's face.
That's the kind of kick that Charlie Brown would have connected with the football if Lucy didn't pull it away.
And then Cutler goes to throw Ricochet back in the ring, but he turns it around into a 619 between the apron and the bottom rope, which we've seen him do before. It's really cool. But the way Cutler sold this was great.
304.5.
Yeah, there you go. And then, so this takes him out, so you've got, again, Cutler and Blake on the outside. Ricochet goes back in, does a Tope Con Hero with a twist, let's call it, while Aleister Black holds the top rope down. Mm-hmm. And this was great. Hits both of them.
Hell of a corkscrew.
But then Ricochet, we're back in the ring, and Ricochet goes for a handspring off of the ropes, and this is where Riker first gets involved. Puts a double forearm, Polish hammer into Ricochet's back. And then Forgotten Sons do this double team backbreaker to Ricochet off both knees. That was cool. We got a springboard Uranagi backbreaker by, I think, Cutler to Ricochet. So he picks him up for a belly to back drop, springboards the legs off of the top rope, turns around into a Uranagi, but takes it across his knee into a backbreaker. And somewhere, Roderick Strong is jizzing his pants.
Roderick Strong is the messiah of the backbreaker. We're going to call Steve Cutler the Craig Christ of the backbreaker at this point, because he was just pulling.
No, not this point. A little bit later, but
yeah,
I get there too. So Blake pulls Black off of the apron to keep him from getting the hot tag, but eventually Cutler goes for this tag team catapult onto Ricochet, but throws him way over Blake, and Ricochet finally gets the hot tag to Aleister Black. Black comes in, catches a punch that Cutler tries to throw, but then throws it back into Blake's face, just smacks the taste out of his mouth. And then Black hits a springboard double reverse DDT, you know, where he flips back and then catches them both. Not usually around the neck, but, you know, he catches them.
Yeah.
Gets a near fall on Cutler.
Turns also like into a flipping double clothesline.
Then we get that spot where Black's backed into the corner, and then his kick gets caught, but then he uses his other foot to drop it down. Double kicks to the chest. Normally he goes for a Meteora, but I believe it was it Blake?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ducks the Meteora, and then ends up hitting a no, it was Cutler. Hits him with a double underhook backbreaker. Not as cool as the springboard one, but again, Roderick Strong much? Just saying.
Seriously.
Forgotten Sons go for a double team on Aleister Black, but then Ricochet knocks Blake off the top rope into the ring, and then Ricochet goes up top, leapfrogs off of Black, who is on Cutler's shoulders.
Yeah.
Into a Hurricane Rana on Blake. Fucking great.
I thought for sure he was gonna do a springboard off of Aleister Black's back, which I think would just look just as cool into like a moonsault.
So then Aleister Black runs to do a kick into Cutler. Cutler dodges, and Aleister almost hits Ricochet in the corner. Turns around into a forearm from Cutler, and then Ricochet hits a big boot to Cutler. And then Blake dodges a scissors kick by Ricochet, comes off the ropes into a lariat that just turns Ricochet fucking inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Black dodges the lariat from Blake, and then comes off with a springboard Meteora. So you knew he was going to have to hit the Meteora at some point. But this was awesome looking.
Yeah, it was. He suspends time on occasion. You just wait for him to come down.
Now I think this is where we get the breakdown.
Yeah.
Because eventually we get Ricochet and Blake trading off vertical suplex attempts. And I'm talking 8 trade-offs before Ricochet finally just barely gets Cutler up. And he kind of twists into it almost like a neck breaker.
Mm-hmm.
But he lands it. And then Ricochet goes up top for a corkscrew senton, which they called, what do they call it? Not the Falcon Arrow, that'd be
the Red Arrow.
Or something like that. So Blake dodges that. And then Cutler and Blake Cutler catches Ricochet going up top. Then Blake catches him too. And Blake goes for a reverse Rana or a reverse Frankensteiner off the top rope. Blake lands hard. Ricochet lands on his feet. And it takes a moment for Blake to get up and turn around and realize that Ricochet is still on his feet.
Dikembe Mutombo.
He is beside himself. He is fucking stunned. So we get a tag to Black, who kicks into Ricochet. Okay, so Ricochet tags Aleister Black, and he's like down, holding on to, I think it's Blake.
Yeah.
And then Aleister Black comes in and kicks Blake in the face just for Ricochet to pick him up and do a fireman's carry. But then I call this a TKO GTS. Swings him around like a TKO, lands him on the knee like a GTS. Just the other way.
Yeah.
That was great. And then Black comes in and what kind of kick does he? Does some kind of kick. Big boot from Black to Blake.
Yeah.
And then Cutler pushes Ricochet into Black, breaking up the pinfall attempt. And then Cutler pulls Ricochet out and throws him into the steps. So this is where I thought Cutler and Blake were going to win this match. I thought Wrestle Talk had spoiled this for me. Cutler gets a blind tag, and Blake hits a backstabber onto Black and holds him there. Cutler comes off the top rope with an elbow drop across Black, who's stretched across Blake. Man, this is getting to be a tongue twister.
Well, Black and Blake.
But Ricochet ends up breaking the pinfall attempt here, and Blake does a buckle bomb into Cutler's knees, goes for another double team instead of the pinfall. That was stupid. But Black counters, and Cutler comes off the top rope into a knee from Black. Yeah. That was just sick.
Mm-hmm.
Black Mass to Cutler, Blake with a power bomb into a lung blower.
Just flips it, pushes it out, flips it into that, and that was just a beautiful move on his part.
But near fall. We are almost to the end of this, I swear to God.
Oh, it's I'm about to say, like, the action was so fast paced that you didn't really even It didn't even feel like 25 minutes. It felt like a 10-minute match.
Yeah, so I think it was the near fall where Riker ends up knocking Aleister Black's foot off the bottom rope, but the ref catches that the foot was on the bottom rope and ejects Riker. So Riker's gone. At this point, I'm like, well, maybe Ricochet and Aleister Black do win. Maybe I got some bad information. Aleister Black counters a power bomb. It's right there in the corner. Tag to Ricochet. Turns around, kind of grabs, I think it was Blake, but then Blake hits him with the elbow. That's where he backs up into the tag. And then fucking Black Mass.
Yes.
Boom. Blake's down. And then Aleister runs to the outside.
Just to be on the safe side.
Just to be on the safe side. Does a moonsault off the middle turnbuckle at the apron side of it. Onto the outside, onto Cutler. While Ricochet goes up top. 630 senton. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Aleister Black and Ricochet have won the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And I got a wrong spoiler. I was extremely surprised by this.
Yep.
But really cool. Huge celebration. Streamers everywhere.
Confetti.
Confetti. They are covered in confetti. Red, white, and blue. And as they're celebrating, the War Raiders show up.
Yep.
And they come down to the ring. And we've got the War Raiders with the titles. We've got Aleister Black and Ricochet with the trophy. Giant fucking trophy. And this is our tag team championship match for NXT TakeOver New York.
Which makes our matches 5.
And this is
5
where we go
matches.
off the air.
We have the North American Championship with Matt Riddle versus Velveteen Dream. We've got the Fatal 4-Way for the women's title. Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler. We have Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls. We got Pete Dunne versus Walter.
For the NXT or the WWE UK Championship.
Yep.
And the tag match.
And the tag match.
So awesome. That brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. And Jerry, I think it's going to be pretty high, but you never know. Where do you put this?
I put it as a 4.
Solid 4.
Solid 4. Like the match itself, I was, already kind of like leaning towards Aleister Black and Ricochet to win, even though it doesn't really make much sense since they're getting called up. But at the same time, I also still didn't see the Forgotten Sons as oh god, it's gonna sound horrible, takeover worthy talent.
Yeah.
But at the same
it's
time,
true.
this match, it kind of swayed me in that direction. They're on their way. They still have a little bit more tuning to do, but otherwise, they've got a great package to them. They got a great set of moves, and they were really pushing Aleister Black and Ricochet to the limit because, as I've said, they're a tag team. Aleister Black and Ricochet are just kind of sandwiched together, kind of out of circumstance because of their feud with the Undisputed Era at that point.
Yeah.
And they just found out that it worked, so they're just kind of running with it. And sure enough, now we have the Dusty Rhodes Classics winners in those two. And well deserved. I really believe so. But in the long run, Forgotten Sons, they're going to be down in NXT for a little while. I can actually see them possibly now being in tag title contention. Against the War Raiders, probably not so. But if somebody else were to be able to knock off the War Raiders and just, somehow the Forgotten Sons actually pull it off, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. They kept on saying the Forgotten Sons are going to be pulling off this upset if they beat Aleister Black and Ricochet. If you've been a tag team as long as the Forgotten Sons have, and you're still considered to be like the underdogs in a match with guys that have only made maybe like 5 matches together so far, that's something to be left to be desired right there. But it was what it was. The match was just beautifully put on. Jackson Riker getting ejected, that happened in the last 5 minutes, and it's almost like their power source. Like they're like Superman for a little bit.
I was right there at the end of the match.
Yeah, but they got their son taken away. That they were Superman, and the son got taken away, and after that they were just done for. So Maybe it's just like a motivational tool. Maybe Riker whips them or some shit if they lose. I don't know. But at the same time, yeah, 4 stars out of that match for me.
Well, to me, it would have made sense for the Forgotten Sons to win more than Ricochet and Aleister Black because we all know Ricochet and Aleister Black are getting called up to the main roster. And I think they have the tag team credit here because they are a successful tag team on Raw and SmackDown as well. But it is now very predictable to see the War Raiders win because Aleister Black and Ricochet are moving on.
Kind of ruins the takeover.
So it would have made way more sense for the Forgotten Sons to win. You know me, I'm a big fan of the story.
Yeah.
Not really any story here. No. Other than Jackson Riker getting involved in a couple of times.
And getting caught.
And getting ejected, and that being basically the downfall of Cutler and Blake in this match. So there's a little bit there.
It kind of made them look weak right at the end.
It does come off the back of a pretty good show. I was going to bring it down from 4, but I think I'm gonna agree with you. 4 stars because it was a really great match, and it was something completely unexpected out of the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah.
This level of a great match.
Yeah, and you have at the end, like you said, we have to stare off between the War Raiders and Aleister Black and Ricochet. You know how that match is going to end, but you're excited about how it's going to end.
This is true.
Who's going to get pinned? Who's going to take the fall in that match? We don't know, but at the same time, it's going to be aggressive. It's going to be brutal. Hanson's going to be pulling some crazy shit. Rose going to be pulling some crazy shit. Aleister Ricochet is going to yes. So I'm still stoked for the match. We already have our pick on who's going to win it. Prediction videos will be coming up after this one, and TakeOver is going to be magical. We still have one more week of NXT television before then.
Support No DQ.
Thank you for joining us. Join us tomorrow for the NXT party. That's where we review an episode of NXT UK. And up on the big screen, we should be having Cindy G and
the holiday, Chris Mace.
Chris Mace. So join us for that. And if you'd like to join us on the big screen on a future episode of the NXT party and help us review an episode of NXT UK, come have a spot of NXT with us. You can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stephan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. And you can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ.
Fuck bomb! He thought I wasn't going to do it. He thought he was going to get through it.
Son of a bitch.
You can reset. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ.
Fuck bomb!
Oh, such a comedian.
I promise this time I'll let you. Fuck bomb. Okay, one more. Fuck bomb. Go ahead, Jerry.
At NoDQ General, and also on my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR, exclamation point.
Fuck bomb. That's exclamation point.
Yes. If Colin were on the screen, he'd hold up a piece of paper. Just join up. Just find us on there. Steph and I are both administrators. We have a great set of moderators who'll let you in as well. Just don't list Ronda Rousey as your favorite wrestler or the word yes, and you'll be fine.
And don't try and add us on Facebook. We don't really do that. I like to keep my spoilers on Twitter and not on Facebook. I got spoiled for Charlotte Flair winning the title off of Asuka.
I was wondering how you found out about that. I'm like, you're not really caught up because you've been tired. So it's like I found out about it. I found out about it because they were talking about it in the NXT team chat room. So
yep. So if you like our videos, click the like button. That's underneath me. If you like all of our videos, you should click the subscribe button. That's underneath Jerry. Somewhere in there is a share button. If you know people that like wrestling, especially NXT UK, because we're trying to get some new members of the NXT team, share it with your friends. Join us on Aftermatch Wrestling. You can get all of these videos about a half a day early, as well as some original content.
Always fun.
Yeah, we just got done recording an episode of the Rated R Rapport with Cindy and Noah. We did that after the predictions video. Yes, we did the predictions video first.
Yes.
And it is really late at night right now, but we can do that because we don't have any guests. But if you'd like to be a guest, just leave a comment down below. If you don't have Facebook or Twitter, let us know how we can get a hold of you.
Or if you have any more questions. And after we reach 100 subscribers at Aftermatch, I think we're at 63 now?
63 subscribers.
So that makes us...
We've got 37 to go.
A row?
My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks. Try not to suck any dick on your way through the parking lot. Hey, you, get back here.
I love that movie.
That's Clerks.
But we reach 100 subscribers, we'll start doing What's NXT Live, which means lots of tomfoolery like you just saw. Bunch of things we wish we could cut out and say, dear God, I wish we hadn't done that. But it'll be there forever.
Yep, so that's all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling. So join us there and click the bell icon when you do, because that'll let you know when the Rated R report goes up, because, God, you fucking never know. It's going to be crazy times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last one that we recorded on Friday morning didn't go up until today, or today being Wednesday, so that tells you how the schedule goes. It's crazy, but you get the videos as soon as they get uploaded if you're on Aftermatch, so join us there. Other than that, for the General, Jerry Slaughter, I am the Rated R reviewer, Stephen Osborne, and thank you for joining us, and we will see you in NXT time.